What's up guys, Jason here and thanks for stopping by. In this video we're going to discuss shock studs. More specifically, we're going to discuss removing them and reinstalling them. Now a shock stud might seem pretty insignificant to most people, but this does a very important job. This provides a stable mounting point for a shock absorber. A shock absorber controls a spring. Now if you got a shock absorber that's lost its charge or fluid, then you'll notice a real bounce in the corner. Well, it can be the same thing if you lose a shock stud and the shock's just hanging there. Shock studs can be damaged in a variety of ways. Either the threads themselves can be damaged, mechanically damaged from a shock losing its fluid and bottoming out, or corrosion. Several methods to damage these shock studs, but really only one way to fix them, and that's to replace them. My shock studs on my project were relatively simple to get out. These things don't require a lot of work to change, but the benefits they provide are huge. This shock stud is a RE2051 from Rubicon Express. It comes with a nut, 4 washers, and a nut for the stud side. Now, you'll notice that this is a pretty substantial piece. This is not something that you kind of want to go skimp on. If you get something that's subpar, then you're going to have subpar performance. If you do have a situation where your shock is working really hard and relying on this to be stable and it's not, you'll definitely notice it. The first step in this process is removing the old shock studs. So let's go ahead and get to that.
And guys, there's always one very important thing to remember. Wear safety gear. You got one body, one life.
Alright guys, here we go. So you'll notice here that I'm being very careful to make sure I only hit the weld with the cutting wheel. Now this shock stud, when it was installed at the factory, was installed through a hole in the shock mount. I want to make sure that I just cut the perimeter where it's welded to the stud and don't damage the mount itself. We don't want to hurt the integrity of the mount because we are going to be installing a new shock stud here, and we want to make sure that everything's going to be alright in the long run. Now with your new shock stud, you can of course weld it around the perimeter like this, but if you just bolt it together, then you're going to be able to change it again. I'm using a hammer here to try to coax it a little bit. Now just as important as making sure that you only get the weld is making sure that you get the mount cleaned up when you're done. I'm using a 80 grit flat disc on my 4.5 inch grinder here. It makes pretty short work of removing the excess metal, so leave as much as you need to. If you can get it off and you leave a big chunk of weld, it's always easier to remove a little bit than it is to mess up and try to add this back in the long run.
Shock studs, they didn't come with any kind of instructions or anything crazy like that. I mean, it's pretty much a stud. It shouldn't be too hard to put in. Like I said, once again, these things are pretty beefy, they're pretty solid. Not having instructions kind of makes you assume a little bit on the washers. I'm assuming that one goes right there and one goes right there and the nut goes on the back side. So we'll go with that. see here that we've got our shock studs installed now. Pretty straightforward installation, nothing amazing about them, nothing hard about them. They seem that they're going to be good products, so hopefully they will be. Alright guys, so that's it. It's pretty simple. I hope you like this DIY. If you did indeed like it and you want to see more content like this, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and stop by next time. Appreciate it guys. Take care.